Hello?
Is this Mikey?
Hello.
Javante?
Yep.
Who are you with?
A whole lot of people right now.
All right. Well, tell them to start cheering because you're going to be a commander.
The Washington Commanders select Mike Sanderfield.
But we're going to pull the card. We're going to pick Jordan McGee from Temple, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
Can't wait to make you a commander. You played just how we want you to play, man.
Which one is it?
And I couldn't be more proud to pick you to represent our franchise. So, congratulations, man.
The Washington Commanders select Jayden Daniels, quarterback, LSU.
Jazon Newton.
Man, I have a ton of belief in you. I can't wait to see you play for us.
The Washington Commanders select Brandon Coleman.
Commanders family, the draft is just 1 week away. And we know that's crazy to say, and we know how excited y'all are. And we want to show y'all we are just as excited. So we put together a draft special just for you guys. Let's get it. And you know we can't have a special without Washington legend, Super Bowl champion, and future Hall of Famer Brian Mitchell joining us to talk about all things draft. And our analysts share who they have Washington drafting in the first round. You definitely want to hear that. And we'll end the show by finding out who is the real draft guru. Is it Fred Smoot? Is it Logan Paulson? You'll be surprised at the answer. And all that and more starts right now. Welcome into Command Center, Commanders family. I'm Brian Colbert Jr. here with Santana Moss, Fred Smoot, and LP Logan Paulson. Logan Paulson. We are just a week away from the NFL draft.
Yes.
And I think about last year, how excited we were, thinking we might be getting our franchise quarterback. Well, now we have our franchise quarterback, but I feel like this year, I'm even more excited, man. How are y'all feeling as we enter this draft?
It's the day of tears. It's the day some of these guys have been waiting 20 years for. And when we went through this thing, it's bigger than just us. We elevate our family. Like this is a dream come true. So it's a special day, man. I can't wait for these kids.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tremendously excited because, I mean, this is the opportunity for us to add, the Washington Commanders had 5 new football players, 5 new commanders. And, like, just to see what Adam Peters did last year and just to trust that he's going to bring in the right type of people, I mean, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see who these guys are going to be and how it's going to make the football team better.
Yeah, I got to piggyback off you guys when it comes to just the excitement of just knowing that, you know, it's a new year, a new era of football for some of these guys. And then you got to think about it, just going off of what was displayed last year with the team and the organization alone, whatever group of guys out there that knows that going to get that name called, when they get that name called, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they're going to be ecstatic to know that they're going to a franchise that's on the up. It's one of those special moments, those special times that we can all reflect on and just, you know, smile, put a smile on our face for those guys who get signed.
And last year's draft was our first time seeing this front office and this coaching staff collaborating together on the draft. And I feel like they knocked it out the park, right?
Yeah, they did.
And Logan, we talk a lot about getting to run it back with the same offensive coordinator, getting to run it back with the same defensive coordinator. But I feel like the same has to apply when you're running it back with the same front office. Do they have extra advantages being able to run it back a second time?
Yeah, I think so. And I think also you got to think that even though they're running back kind of with that same nucleus, they added some really smart pieces to the group, right? And I think like when you get more smart people that kind of are all rolling in the same direction, kind of looking for the same vision, like you're going to get a better football team, get a better product. And so I think that's the genius of Adam Peters and this whole staff is they've not only do they have a really clear vision, but they brought other smart people in to help them accomplish that vision. I think that's the thing that makes this really cool because the continuity's there. They've also had nice accents, kind of like the Commanders did in free agency, right? They brought the right pieces in to make it better. I think that's what they did here.
And Logan mentioned bringing in 5 guys. He says that because currently we have 5 draft picks so far in this NFL draft. We traded a couple to bring some guys in. Let's take a look at our draft picks going into the 2025 NFL draft. All right, right now, the 29th pick in the first round. Fellas, I feel like that's going to be extremely valuable. Then round 2, pick 61. Then we don't pick again till round 4, pick 128. Then round 6, pick 205. Round 7, pick 245. Now, we all know this could change, especially with a guy like Adam Peters who gets it in. However, fellas, when you look at that, you got to be feeling pretty good going into this draft if you're a Commanders fan. Time for Securing the W, presented by Hercules Fence. Security in every job. Welcoming in the captain, London Fletcher. Now, we unfortunately will not have you part of our draft coverage because you got a lot of vacations to take. However, it's nice to talk to you right now. So first things first, you missed to set the tone. How are you feeling? Gauge your excitement right now because we're just a week away from the draft.
Yeah, I'm excited as always, just to really look and see what type of players we're going to bring into this football team. And this is a very different type of position for us. We've grown accustomed to drafting in the top half of the draft, top 10, probably over the last few years, obviously having the number 2 overall pick last year. But this year, we're in an unfamiliar position, drafted number 29 overall. And the thing that I love about what Adam Peters did in their front office, they addressed a lot of our glaring needs in free agency or also via trades. So we're in a great situation to where, from a draft standpoint, we can kind of pick best player available if that's the route we want to go.
Yeah, Fletcher, you're talking about 29, how that's a unique situation. Is there a player there kind of, because it's like you go any direction, any position. Is there a position, a player maybe that you say Washington needs to kind of key in on at that moment? I know best player available, but anybody you got an eye on there?
I would say this, and just looking at the edge rushers, we haven't really truly addressed that position, so to speak, with a younger guy in free agency. So the draft is deep for some of the edge rushers, some of the guys that may be available at 29. Maybe it's the defensive end out of Marshall, who led the National Football League, and who led college in sacks a season ago. There's some questions about some things why he was dismissed from West Virginia. Maybe that could lead to him falling. The Boston College, they got an outstanding edge rusher as well. So, if we wanted to address that position, there will be some really good football players available at 29 to kind of add to this football team as an edge rusher.
London, we got a couple of teams in the NFL like Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers that specialize in drafting small school kids. All right, and you know better than anybody how it is to play at a small school and not get the attention of the big schools. What's the important thing you would tell the front office when it comes to drafting guys from small schools, what they bring to the table when it comes to drafting these guys and giving them a shot to make an NFL team?
I think the first thing that you want to look at is, if that small school team or that small school player, has he had an opportunity to go against some of the top upper echelon Power 4 schools at some point in their career? If there's an edge rusher, say the green kid out of Marshall, how did he play against Ohio State's tackle? And just using him as an example, seeing them guys against high-level competition, how did they play? But also, as a smaller school guy, the number one thing you have to do to kind of ease the concern about your competition is you got to dominate your level. The competition that you go against, you have to dominate that level to where there's no situation where they're like, he wasn't playing against the upper echelon talent week in and week out, but he didn't dominate. You have to answer that question and show your greatness on week in and week out, going against the level of competition that you go against.
London, looking at what we did last year in the draft, having I guess you could say the talent that we had in this room that helped us make it all the way to the NFC Championship game, how much pressure do you think is on AP and the staff this year to go out there and get similar complementary players that's going to be able to help us try to be consistent, in what we do year in and year out of seeing that game again or either further to the Super Bowl?
I think as long as they stick to kind of what they look at as they talk about being a commander. You see last year they drafted a lot of guys who had leadership qualities, a bunch of guys who were captains on their football team, dog-ass competitors. They use that word a lot. So as long as they continue to stick to their metrics, their criteria, and these players are extremely productive at the same from the same standpoint, I don't think they look at it as a pressure type of situation. I look at them as they're probably looking at it like, man, we get to add some more pieces to this football team, some guys, build on what we did a year ago with the draft. Right now, we got 5 current draft picks, and that can change depending on how whether you trade and acquire more picks. But just continue to add guys who truly meet the standard of what a true commander is.
In London, there is so much depth in this draft. So I have to ask you, if there's one position that you want to see filled next week, what position is that?
Well, you know me, man. I'm always a guy who's going to kind of advocate for the defensive side of the ball. And I think as you look at this this draft in general, I would say the talent is maybe skewed a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. So, I mentioned the defensive line, whether it's a defensive tackle, edge rusher, those positions are going to be, really available to us. And you don't have to draft one of these guys in the first or second round because it's going to be a deep draft for those D linemen. So continue to add to the fat boys, as Fred likes to say, especially along the defensive defensive line.
Smell like bacon, baby.
Shout out to London Fletcher. We appreciate you giving your insights. Again, he will not be with us next week on the draft. However, we will be hearing from you very, very soon. Shout out to the future Hall of Famer, London Fletcher. And Logan, he mentioned advocating for the defense. Somebody that we know always advocates for the defense is our head coach, Dan Quinn. Logan Paulson got a chance to sit down with Dan Quinn as we head to next week's draft. Let's check it out.
And it's funny because I think your superpower, having played for you, is that you do a great job building culture and building relationships, right? But Adam Peters, his superpower is finding and identifying talent. So how do you guys gel that and make sure you're getting guys that you can build those relationships with while also kind of helping adopt his vision of what the team's going to look like?
Yeah, it was such a great example last year, Logan, of the importance of how strong a locker room can be. And last year, the team, I said the best part of our team was the team. It was the strength, the roles, and when you're chasing some dreams together, there's value for everybody, man. Whatever their role is on the team, can they do that at the highest level? And I felt like our locker room did that. And so you want to be able to chase things, and share in that journey together. So those relationships are important. But at the end of it, man, it is putting all these puzzle pieces together. The border's set, that's good. You have these pieces that have to be in the right spots. And number one, hey, can you get everybody here first? And then we'll organize how to feature the guys in the best spots. But to get everybody here, that's a big assignment, man, for Adam and his staff. There's evaluation piece, financial piece, the medical piece to it. All of that has to fit. And when it does, there's some really cool things that can happen.
Always great seeing my game plan crew together, Coach and Logan. Now, you can listen to that full sit-down interview during our pre-draft show, April 24th. It's all about the prospects now, and our guys are in the film room ready to break down some more. Logan, take it away.
Thanks, Brian. It's time for Draft Insights, powered by Microsoft Copilot. All right, we're on the Microsoft Surface, and I'm going to use the Copilot to figure out which defensive lineman has the fastest three-cone. Fastest three-cone for DL. And the reason this is so important is because there is a really strong correlation between the three-cone and good pass rushers. And look what pops up here. Donovan Ezeraku, man, had 15 sacks at Boston College. Let's take a look at his tape and a couple other guys with great three-cones in this year's draft class. All right, so guys, we talked about looking up kind of three-cone times and how to make good pass rushers. And Tana, I don't know if you knew this, man, but this man right here ran a sub-7 three-cone. It was a 6.8, which is an excellent three-cone. This is Mike Green from Marshall, man.
He don't want in my book. So let me go and see what Tana doing out there, that three-cone.
That's right. So one of the things about him that I really like, man, is he is a great pass rusher. What do you like about him when you watch the film?
Well, what I like about him, losing a guy like Fowler, the first person that appeared in this draft that remind me of a Fowler, 6'3", 250 pounds, quick, real twitchy, relentless to the ball. He just had that something about him that I feel like that screams commander. A player that I think that's designed. He was born to be a commander, and that's what stood out to me. And like we talked about it, a guy like him with the caliber of talent he is, he might not be around in our pick. But if he is, come on, coach.
Kick him out the club.
He's got some good power, And I think the thing is, these are clips, right? But and the times are great. But man, when you turn on the film,
it matches.
He is a Tasmanian devil, man. And I don't know, there's some off-field stuff associated with him, but when you watch the film, he plays hard. He plays physical, and he can rush the passer at a very, very high level. He's a really fun player to watch. And Fred, you got your guys. James Pierce Jr. here, right?
Yes, I love this guy. You say he's not as long as you think. I think he plays with length. I think he plays with good posture. He can get low and he can bend that corner. I'm telling you, I've seen him do it in the SEC. Now, people might question his motor at times because he makes the game look so easy. But I don't think you have that when you have a coaching staff like this that's going to drive you to the point of wanting to be a champion. He's a guy, if you can get him on your team and you got the right teammates around him, he can blossom into a multi-Pro Bowl player, I think.
And we've talked about him quite a bit because his get-off was outstanding. He had the fastest 10 at the combine. And you see that. You see that burst. But I think, again, not a great three-cone. And it's so funny that three-cone is a really good indicator of pass rush upside, but there's different ways
to
you can do it, right, Fred?
Yeah, most definitely. Nobody does it the same. And right now, we're not getting a finished player. None of these players in the draft are finished players. With the coaching staff that we have, they can turn them into a machine.
I'm really glad you said that, Fred, because like when you look at stuff like when he moves around really well, right? He's got good bend, good balance, and again, a little bit of more of a project than people want to talk about, right? Didn't play a ton of Tennessee. They had this hockey line rotation there, but man, a really interesting prospect, and like you said, got enough there, and so as a coach, you're probably like, I can make it happen.
I can't wait to get him in the room.
Yeah, right, exactly, man. So, Mike Green, James Pierce Jr., and then one that I think is maybe a little bit underrated is Donovan Izaraku from Boston College.
Which a lot of people got him slotted us draft.
Yeah, and again, like these are field drills, right? Man, that's pretty good, good athlete, whatever.
Good hips.
But like the thing about him that really sticks out to me, man, is like this is fine, is when you turn on the tape, man, he's got that special it factor. I mean, we're talking here, we got like a little ghost move here. Yeah. And so a couple things to point out here. Watch high-level hand usage, right? That shows up on film, big time. High-level hand usage and then high-level bend, right? Yeah. And so we talked about the three-cone with Mike Green, how he killed it at the pro day. Donovan Izaraku had the fastest three-cone at the combine, which shows bend, footwork, kind of your ability to kind of get out over your hip, work the edges of your feet. He's got it, man. And then you couple that with power, with the great hands, with the ability to bend. And I say, man, like he would be a great, kind of like you're talking about with that a piece to replace from a pass rush perspective. So it's interesting, like that metric is so unique because it does show a certain kind of athleticism.
I totally agree with it. And like you said, I'm more with his bend. I love his bend because when he turns this corner on this tackle here, he takes a knee like he about to propose to his wife. he is one of those guys that, like you said, it's some special, unique traits there. Right here. Will you marry me? Yes, I will. That's what's happening.
That reminds me of like those, Mathis, Freeman, kind of that. And again, he's 6'2", a little shorter.
Which I'm fine with that.
But got great arm length, right? And sometimes those guys who are a little bit lower,
they put 6'6" tackles in a blender. All the time. We see it all the time. And one thing about it, being 6'2", he uses this to his advantage. He makes them come to him, and then he blows past them.
And I think it's interesting, Tana, like I don't know if you know this, but Mike Green led the FBS with 17 tackles, Donovan Izaraku with 15, right? So obviously these guys can rush the passer at a high level, the production's there, the athlete's there, and I think when you watch the film, man, they are competitive as all outdoors, man. They are fun football players to watch, and again, these are just a couple examples. The Commanders could go a multitude of different ways because there are a lot of good football players, but these are some guys that have that athletic upside that we really look for.
Appreciate you, Logan. Always great seeing you in the film room. Now we
draft guru.
It's time for the best seat in the house, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek.
Yeah, both are different. I think with Debo being available, I'll start with Debo. Yeah. And with him being available, and knowing Debo since really before we drafted him in San Francisco, we actually coached him at the Senior Bowl too. So we got to know him really early. And then seeing who he is, how he plays, how he works, what kind of teammate he is, and then obviously seeing firsthand in person how he can change a game. Like he is a true game changer. Yeah, he is somebody who lifts everybody else competitively on the field. So having that opportunity, that was really cool to get him and get Jayden in our offense, another weapon that can take it to the house at any time. And then the other thing we really wanted to do is get a left tackle, a great left tackle, and those are hard to find.
I would say they don't fall off trees, and they usually don't come available. Like
they usually don't. You're right. And so we were like, especially picking 29th in the draft. Okay, can we find a real left tackle, like a starting left tackle? Brandon Coleman did an incredible job. He did as last year. And he can play anywhere on the line, which is great. So let's find like, an elite left tackle that, Jayden can feel really great and comfortable with covering his blind side. And so when that opportunity came about, we jumped on it and we thought it was really important to do that.
Shout out to AP for joining the Get Loud crew ahead of the draft. Last year, Peters and Quinn drafted 9 players in the 2024 draft, including Rookie of the Year, quarterback Jayden Daniels. Now, last year's draft class features some impact players for Washington last season. So let's take a look at the full 2024 Commanders draft class. It's time for your winning numbers presented by the Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. And you talk about winning numbers, well, these guys played a big part in the wins we got last season. You see Jayden Daniels, then Jerzon Newton, Mikey Sandersill, and Brandon Coleman in the 3rd round. All of those guys ended up being starters for our team and are looking to make a huge impact in year 2. Fellas, as y'all saw last year, AP and company knocked it out the park with the 2024 NFL draft class, our 2024 NFL draft class. And fellas, It's going to be hard to put in awards because it wasn't just the impact on the field, it was the impact off the field as well. But when you look at this rookie class and what they were able to do for this organization, can y'all talk about that impact a little bit?
Foundation. You cannot build a house, you build a house ground up. They are the foundation. The first thing you need is a kitchen. And that's a quarterback. We can't eat in this house without. We need a kitchen, man. We need a kitchen. And that's what he did. He gave us a certified quarterback to put everybody on alert. I think we fortified some of the trenches, especially on the defensive side. We added a defensive back with Mikey Sanders still. I just thought we did a little bit of everything right in that first draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think the quarterback is the thing, right? When you look at like what that does is having that franchise guy, it gives everybody hope, right? It gives the entire city hope. So we talk about on the field, off the field, I think it's kind of re-engaged the fan base and started a new era. All those things to me are exemplified in this draft class. But I think, like Fred said, there are pieces that you can build around. Mike Sanders still, Jayden Newton, Brandon Coleman, right? And all the pieces that really everybody has a role kind of moving into this next year. So it's really exciting because they represent the start of something new, completely new here for the Washington organization and the fan base. So that's why.
And I'll rephrase it a little bit. You know, Fred said the first thing you need is a kitchen. No, you need a roof over your head. And I think that's what the quarterback was. He was the foundation as himself. We had
kitchen's the first
security.
Thing, come on, man.
He's talking about a kitchen. Like, well, I think about eating.
First thing is the garage. Man, garage first.
I need to eat. I've been in the studio a long time.
You okay? But to your point, when you look at a draft, right, you are happy to get one starter. Let alone four. And that's exactly what we had. Brandon Coleman, Mikey Sanders, Jayden Daniels, and of course, Jayden Newton when he got healthy. When you look at that, how important is it to get guys, no matter where you draft them, that you can trust to play on game day?
That's what you're drafting for. Like the one thing about draft, it's the ultimate crapshoot. Just because we was good in college don't mean we're gonna translate to the pros, and it don't mean we can put year after year after year. That's the challenge of being a pro. A pro ain't doing it one time. Like everybody gonna ask the question about our quarterback, Jayden Daniels. Can he live up to what he set the bar so high for? So everybody will be put to the test, and I want to challenge y'all. Y'all say we got 4 starters. We don't know what's going to happen in this year. It might be more starters on this team from this draft.
I think that's exactly right, Fred. I think seeing the other pieces, right, that could develop. The Ben Simmons, when you look at his athletic profile, when you look at Luke McCaffrey, his athletic profile, all these guys that could kind of grow. I look at Brandon Coleman, and can he be kind of a franchise right tackle? Something you can build around again with Larry Tunsil kind of changing that role, or maybe a guard. So that's an exciting proposition that maybe this class isn't fully blossomed yet. And so like it's exciting, but the idea that they could still grow and still have more potential is also fantastic.
And just speaking of those guys being starters, you know, we've been around this draft as far as players and then guys who's been covering these guys, and you never sit there and say to yourself that, you know, the majority of these guys that we're picking in these rounds are going to really give us something this year. So to have that many guys that play off, you know, out the gate and really be, you know, true, I guess you can say complimentary guys on this, you know, this team, that's amazing. And you really don't, you very seldom see that. So it's great to say that we have those guys. Looking forward to seeing some of those other guys fall in suit.
And fellas, I'm gonna put y'all on the spot because we had a heavy draft class. Now, when you look at this draft class, who do you want to see take that next big step coming into this year? So our sophomore class, who do you want to see take that next big step and make a big leap?
Well, I'm a starter.
Fred, stop talking, man.
Jordan McGee. I told y'all last year how I was sitting there watching this dude like, well, damn. man put together. But you know, not only that, man, just knowing who he has as a tutor, as somebody that he can be an understudy to. When you have a Bobby Wagner, a Luvu, you watching those guys play the game, you could just sit back there and say, man, look here, man, until you need me, I'm finna soak it all up. And so I think year 2 for him would be one of those pivotal years that you can say he's gonna be trying to chop at the bit. Say, hey, Cole, I need some time now. I done did all the studying and watching. Now it's time for me to get out there and earn my keep.
And to Tanner's point, he's been sitting and watching, getting that red shirt year, man. Very, very excited to see him. Fred, who you got?
Church, first of all. Second of all, Jean Baptiste.
Oh, yeah.
Like, listen, the time that he played, he flashed. Like the time that he played, we knew we were gonna have to put a couple pounds on him. That's what the offseason is for. Everybody, we need an edge. We need an edge. How about we might already have an edge? All I'm saying is give my guy a chance because I think he's gonna blossom into a good edge rusher in this league. And sometimes you have to worry about your own instead of going shopping for somebody else's.
And for me, it might be cheating, but I'm going to say Drazon Newton because I think he was starting to play better the last half of the year.
Yeah.
And to see the flashes, the explosiveness, the hand usage, all those things, I'm like, man, if he can kind of continue to build on that, have a healthy offseason, he's going to have a huge breakout year and be a difference maker for this defense.
Fellas, I'm feeling Luke McCaffrey, man. When I think about the McCaffrey boys working out this offseason, putting that work in, I wouldn't be surprised Luke come back 10, 15 pounds. But I'm also very excited to see these guys. What a great draft class. And, of course, they're all catapulted by the man, Jayden Daniels. Let's take a look at Jayden Daniels' numbers this past season. It's time for Top 5, presented by UA Local 5 Plumbers, protecting the health of the nation's capital since 1890. Now, here's a look at the historic season Jayden Daniels had. Over 3,500 passing yards, a 69% completion rate, 25 passing touchdowns, and then, of course, he got it done with his legs as well, breaking a record with 891 rushing yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. What an incredible start to what we can hope is a promising career for our quarterback, Jayden Daniels. And speaking of promising careers, we got a future Hall of Famer on deck, fellas. It's time for your can't miss moment, presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Welcoming in future Hall of Famer and Super Bowl champion, my guy, Brian Mitchell. Now, we will see you on draft night. Me, you, and Tanner will be back in the studio covering things all draft related. However, we still want to holler at you because we are just a week away. Now, last year, Adam Peters did his thing, knocked it out the park by drafting Jayden Daniels. When you look at what we did last year, how excited are you about this year and what Adam Peters and company can do?
Well, I'm very excited. I think what they've done in the offseason allows them to go into the draft and be able to pick whoever they want. You know, normally you go in, you need a person of need, or you need to go in there and need a person of a certain position. But what Adam did during his offseason allowed them to go in, and if someone falls to them, they can take them. I don't think they're in a point where they have to go and get a certain position, a certain person. They'll be able to go out there and have their pick of the litter.
Now, B, I know you're excited about the draft and who may be our draft pick, whether it's first round to the last pick we have. But how excited are you knowing that we don't have to go to Green Bay and cover?
Well, you know what?
I was excited about that.
Be honest with you, I'm kind of not excited because Green Bay is real close to Whistling Straits.
Oh, okay.
Unbelievable golf course. So, I was going to try to sneak up there.
See, I don't play no golf night like that. Not like that. So I'd have been in the hotel by myself somewhere, stranded.
But they got good nightlife in Milwaukee, though.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I have tested the waters of Milwaukee also.
First-hand experience.
B-Mitch, I got to ask you this because you was a guy that was handed this challenge on draft day. You played quarterback your whole time in college. When you get into the pro, they say, no, you're a returner, you're a running back. You got to do different things. I watched Randall switch positions. I watched Woodrow Danvers switch positions. How hard would it be for one of these guys, if you can get these guys in the draft some advice about changing positions because they asked you, what would that be?
Well, I would tell them do it because if you don't change position, you might not get drafted. That's the ultimate thing. If you don't change, you have less opportunities. If you do change, you have more. When they told me, I was like, listen, I'm a football player. I don't care. And they gave me a chance to play 14 years. There have been a lot of guys who refuse to change positions, never played it down in the NFL. So if there are coaches out there that want to give you that opportunity, take it. Because, they're going to give you 2 years, maybe 3 years, trying to figure something out for you. Hell, as long as you're getting paid, is all that matters.
Would you consider telling that to Jalen Milroe, the quarterback from Alabama that just ran the 4-3, if they asked him to play a little wide receiver? Yeah. Would you be open to that? Or should he just stick to his guns like Lamar Jackson and say, be patient with me and let me play quarterback?
Well, see, I think Jalen Milroe is a different beast right there. I was the guy who was going to be drafted in 5th, 6th round. Yeah. And I took that 5th round and gave me an opportunity. Milroe, some people are thinking can still creep into the 1st round. And if you can creep into the 1st round as a quarterback, you do that. He's shown enough where he has enough skill to get to the league and get the proper coach, he can improve. But, I think he needs to try stick to your guns on that point because there's a lot of money up there for him to go in the 1st round.
B-Mitch, obviously everyone talks about what we're going to do at 29. I think that's really interesting. But the thing that I find interesting is what you do with the 4th, the 6th, and the 7th round pick. With those later round picks, how important is it that those guys have some special teams value? And what makes a good special teams player in the draft?
Well, I think it's very important to have the guys with special teams value because you never know. Those guys, just like Zach Bond, he was a special team guy. Now he's one of the top linebackers in the league. I think the thing about having the attitude you have to have is that you're selfless. You know, you can't worry about trying to get to a certain point. You know, you like a lot of guys used to listen to guys in high school and college talk about you're playing special teams. The NFL, everything matters. I don't care if it's an inch on special team, defense, offense, everything matters. And you have to have those guys who are a little crazy. You know, to be honest with you, people say, Gary Clark always said to me, man, you didn't play quarterback. Your mindset is not quarterback. Listen, if you're going to play special teams, run full speed and just run into somebody or look in the air to catch a ball, you got to be a little off a little bit. So you need to find those guys that's off their rocker just a little.
I knew you was off your rocker the day I met you.
And Beavis, we appreciate your insight. Before we let you go, we've talked endlessly all offseason about the depth at different positions in this draft. What position would you like to see the Commanders draft next week?
Well, I want to see him try to get a pass rusher. You know, maybe a young guy you can find that may come in later in the first round, somewhere in that second, third round, if you can maneuver a little bit. I think Adam Peters is a magician. He knows how to get more picks when people think he doesn't have any. But you need to find someone that's going to be able to come off the edge. And maybe not a guy that's going to be the impact this year, but look at 2-3 years down the road.
Shout out to my guy, Brian Mitchell, Super Bowl champion and future Hall of Famer. As I said earlier, we will all be giving you draft coverage next week. B-Mitch, can't wait to see you here in the studio with me and my guy, Santana Moss. And speaking of draft coverage, we're going to let you know the dates that are important to pay attention to. April 24th, we will be doing a pre-draft special at 7 p.m. while on round one, while we are on the clock. Then April 25th, we will be doing a pre-draft special, then be back on for round two when we are on the clock, seeing as though hopefully things stay the same, but maybe things will be changing a little bit. But regardless, we'll be giving you all the coverage you need on draft night. Commanders families celebrate the 2025 NFL Draft with the Washington Commanders at National Harbor on Saturday, April 26th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's presented by SeatGeek. You can score free giveaways, meet Washington legends, enjoy live entertainment from the Command Force, and much, much more. Please RSVP for your free event tickets at commanders.com/draft party. I'll be there, and so will some of the guys. Can't wait to see you. Fellas, again, just a week away from the draft. We killed it last year. I know we are feeling good, fellas. This is the last time I'll get to talk to y'all before draft night. Tanner, how you feeling, big dog?
Now, I hate bringing this up because he always going to talk about how old I am. I really don't have no high expectations. You know what I mean? I just feel like right now we coming into the draft in some uncharted waters. You know, last year was almost like we need to get saviors, guys that's going to come here and turn this franchise around. I think this year we have a chance to really go out there and get best available and just get some key pieces, that we can add to what we have already. So my expectation is not that high. I'm just looking forward to the draft in general.
And Fred, we're gonna have you amongst the people.
Yes.
Like Logan calls you a company man, gonna be much people, man. How excited are you to be out there?
I cannot wait.
First
of all, just like Santana said, the cake is already cooked. Everything we're getting out is icing. Like rims on the car. We're trying to make this thing look better and feel better. Like, I enjoy what they have done so far in free agency and by trades. It's allowing us to just walk in this draft and say, you know what? We're trying to add the best athletes possible, and we only looking for Commanders. And I think it's going to set us up for the future very soon.
And Logan, as our resident draft guru.
He's not.
This is your time to shine, Fred. This is Logan's time to shine right here, man.
He's the draft nerd. I'm the draft guru.
Well, the draft nerd will be in studio giving us in-time breakdowns, man. How excited are you about being able to analyze these guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'm so excited because you do so much work. You know, watch about 175 guys at the moment, and you get to know all their backstories, where they grew up, where they went to college, all this stuff. And so to see those guys come and kind of get that dream actualized, like Fred was talking about earlier, I think is really special. And it's also so fun to kind of now get those pieces of the team's vision. Oh, they think about this guy in this way, or whatever it is. So this is the funnest part, is seeing it all come together and seeing it executed.
Did y'all hear the flex? I only watched 175.
How many guys you watched?
176. I watched that many.
Hey, you know what, Tanner, man? Me and you all offseason that we have to sit and watch them pull it out for who is the best draft guru. But you know what? We might have an answer to that because on Ticket to the Draft podcast, y'all had a little competition. Let's take a listen real quick.
What's on the line in this bet, Fred?
In a year from now.
A year from now.
To this date.
Because it's your birthday, so we'll remember.
To this date, one of us will have to stand up in front of the other one on one knee and say,
stand up on a knee.
On one knee and say, you, my friend, are the best draft guru in the building.
And I'm nothing.
And I personally am nothing.
Yes, that's right. So that's what's on the, and you better believe I don't want to do that, Fred, at all costs.
Because it will be recorded.
I don't want that to happen.
That is the Ticket to the Draft podcast. The guys have a great time with that. Make sure you stream that. But as you heard, there's a lot on the line.
I got to see this standing up on one knee thing.
Hey, listen, we might see it. Somebody lost. We got
Tanner right here.
Our producer Jason put together the results. for Fred and Logan. And at first glance, Fred had 83. Logan had 86. However,
86 what points?
Logan, being the draft guru that he was, didn't trust himself. Overthought it, which Logan tends to do.
He finally won.
So let me tell you where.
Let's see.
Because if he had stuck with Lad McConkey, which he had at first, that would have got you 24 points.
Yeah. Instead, he went with who?
Ricky Purcell.
I like Ricky. He got
And
shot,
that
though.
only got him 6 points.
He didn't get
so
shot.
that went. Now Fred ended with 83 because Fred stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
And Logan only had 68, which means in that competition, Fred Smoot was the draft guru. Now, Fred, one more time, repeat to Logan what he must do since you beat him.
It's tough.
Not stand up on one knee. Knee need to hit the ground. Like the knee needs to hit the ground.
Remember, this is Fred Smoot's birthday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This
It's
is
my
a great birthday present.
I want you to have your head pointed towards the ground. I want you to slowly look up into my eyes. And I want you to tell
Should I get started? Okay, here we go.
Direct eye contact.
Okay, Fred.
Yeah, thank you.
You're the draft guru. And I'm nothing.
And that's how we do it on Fred Smoot's birthday right here.
Happy birthday, Fred!
To give you happy birthday to Fred Smoot and all the
You still though. That's an L. That's an L. That is still an L.